And talking of Afreximbank, I had to sit down with the director of compliance with the bank. So in the midst of all of these deals, compliance and regulation following the set down rules is very important. That's the conversation I had with the director of compliance at Afreximbank.
I like to describe compliance as the door that you open to benefit from secure banking. Compliance is the way of ensuring that the activity of the bank, like the verb says, complies with what is required by the local authority or the other countries where you want to do business. You cannot come do what you want. You need to come and set your business in a certain framework. And that framework is what the compliance team is ensuring that it is respected. So when you come to Nigeria, you do banking, you have to ensure that whatever you do complies what CBN says. That's its compliance. When you want to promote your business, you want to do trade, have a FX transaction, it has to comply with what the regulators said. So teams like us are here to ensure that the bank does good business, but in line with the framework designed by the regulator. That's compliance. So you don't derail, you follow the road which have been designed by the regulator so that you do not breach, because you know that when you breach, you are jeopardizing the business, you are jeopardizing your license as the bank, and you are jeopardizing your brand. So one needs to ensure that the activity of the bank, be it very dynamic, has to align with what the framework, the regulatory framework is.
Since we're talking about decades of resilience, could you take us through some of the changes that have been recorded over the decades when it comes to compliance?
We notice one thing, and which is common with our continent, is that everybody wants to have better life for population. And that is impacting the regulation, okay? You frame the regulation to avoid that the country being leveraged to do money laundering. You frame the regulation to avoid that terrorism grows. You frame a regulation to ensure that you do better trade with your counterparts, be it local or from other countries. Every country has a regulation on those domains. And year by year, we are improving them because we learn from experience. Oh, this happened. The regulation did not take into consideration. And you see CBN, another central bank, coming with new regulation on digital currency. This means that we are scaling up and adapting the country to what is happening in the world. So those new regulations are a new framework that entities like Afreximbank has to always be conscious of and comply with, and ensure that when we are coming in a territory, we are coming conscious of ABC law requirement that we have to embed in our product, in our process, so that when we come to Nigeria, nobody complains. When we go to Rwanda, nobody complains. When we go to Southern Sudan or Zimbabwe, nobody complains, because up front, the compliance team has said to the business, take care of ABCD. That ABCD requirement is embedded in the product so that we do it differently from a country to another, because you may come in a country and say you cannot put more than $100,000 million in this. And you go to another country, they set another limit. So that diversity in the regulatory environment is something which is quite exciting, I think, and making us very adaptive to the environment. And that's the beauty of Afreximbank. We adapt to environment. We are a counter-cyclical bank, but every time we do an initiative, we are conscious of what the environment is, what the regulation is, and we adapt to it.
And now we have a lot of talks on artificial intelligence, digital transformation, and I'm sure that's also affecting rules, policies, guidelines, and compliance.
Indeed, that's a new world, and that's why we are bringing the conversation on the table. We are organizing the Afreximbank Compliance Forum in November 12th to 14th in Kigali, in partnership with the Central Bank of Rwanda and the Rwanda Bankers Association, to discuss AI, particularly, to discuss AI, how AI can be leveraged by compliance to better support trade, to better secure trade. And that topic will be discussed, then I said, in Kigali, where we will be inviting central bank, trade specialists, compliance specialists, but also AI specialists to come to see, discuss that you just cannot take technology and just bring it in your environment. You need to adapt it. You need to tropicalize it. That's my favorite expression. Because when they were designing it somewhere in one country, they took the local requirement. So when you are exporting it, so maybe there are some codes that you have to change to adapt it to what Nigeria is expecting, what Rwanda is expecting, or what Senegal is expecting. So, but AI is adaptable enough to be leveraged from, with one objective: better trade, better compliance, better trade.
So it does seem like one threat coming up recently is the trade-based money laundering. I wonder if Afreximbank has taken this into consideration in compliance and policies as you deal with partner countries.
We at Afreximbank, we have invested several millions of dollars to protect ourselves against trade-based money laundering, TBML. That's the issue of money laundering related to trade. And the way we tackle it is through, obviously, having the right tools to monitor our trade, our flows, okay? And to ensure that that issue of TBML related to trade is understood, is monitored, and we are able to stop a transaction because we know that this is the issue. And that's something that all regulators across the world are conscious of, and solution in terms of specific regulations, specific policies, specific systems are put in place to manage TBML. So it's a day-to-day business to us, and we know how to manage it, and we are adapting also to the issues, because you know, money launderers, they are quite quick on changing their techniques. So we are also adapting ourselves to that, to just ensure that our platform is not leveraged to do money laundering related to trade, TBML.
So while you take care of Afreximbank, I'm curious, what about the countries you deal with? Can you make them adapt? Can you make them also be more conscious of dealing with risks, with all this money laundering and other forms of threats?
It's not my responsibility to design the regulation of a country, but it's my responsibility to ensure that the bank which Afreximbank is working with, is financing, has a platform of compliance which is strong between us and them, because when a dollar comes from a country and pass through our platform, that money is given outside to one of our correspondent banks. And we need to show that the value chain has been properly handled and is free of TBML issue, is free of terrorist financing issue, and that's my responsibility. And that's why we work closely with the financial institution in the country where we are. It's a collaboration. to ensure that we are promoting compliance, we are promoting good systems, we are implementing those systems so that we have a better understanding of the customer base, we have a better understanding of the business, and we are sure that when we support them, it's a clean business. It's not a business where you have hidden initiatives which are leading to the problem we have discussed in just now. So we cannot design as Afreximbank the regulation of a country, but we can support financial institutions in countries to improve their financial controls, their compliance framework, and we discuss, we ensure that they comply with their own regulations, okay? Because we have a good understanding of what the country requires, and we always ensure that the banks we work with also complies with that before we work together.
And now that it seems like Nigeria is on its way out of the grey list, what difference does it make for Nigeria in its dealings with Afreximbank?
Oh, it's more attractiveness for investment. It's ability to get in, how can I say, loans from partners. So as soon as you are out of it, the country is seen being more attractive and less prone to issues related to money laundering, corruption, etc. So that's why all our countries are today fighting to be out of the grey list and seen as a partner which is viable and credible enough to do business with. So that's why it is important to put the right structure, the right policies, the right framework to be out of the grey list.